When you picture island art, what comes to mind? Is it a watercolor of a pristine, empty beach at sunset? A carved wooden tiki figure smiling benignly? Perhaps a vibrant painting of hibiscus flowers and palm trees designed to match the decor of a hotel lobby. For decades, this has been the dominant image, art as a commercial postcard, a simplified, digestible fantasy sold to tourists. It's an image of paradise, scrubbed clean of complexity, history, and often its own people. But beyond this curated facade, a powerful and transformative movement is underway. Contemporary island artists are systematically and brilliantly dismantling this idyllic myth. They are not just painting new pictures, they are rewriting the entire narrative, using their work to reclaim their identities from the clutches of colonial history and the commodifying gaze of the tourism industry. This process begins with a direct confrontation of the stereotype. The art we're exploring today actively resists easy categorization. It is not always beautiful in a conventional sense. It can be challenging, political, and deeply personal. Imagine a mixed media piece by a Caribbean artist. At first glance, you see the brilliant blues of the sea, but look closer. Embedded in the canvas are fragments of historical documents, shipping manifests from the slave trade, colonial land deeds, faded newspaper clippings about independence movements. The beautiful surface is literally built upon a foundation of complex, often painful history. This is not art meant to soothe, it's art meant to awaken. It forces the viewer to acknowledge that the paradise so often marketed was built on a history of exploitation and erasure. This is cultural reclamation in its most potent form, turning the symbols of oppression into tools of empowerment. Another key aspect of this redefinition is the exploration of identity beyond the geographical confines of the island itself. The story of island peoples is a story of movement, of voyages, of diaspora. Millions of people of island heritage live in global metropolises like London, Toronto, and Auckland. Their connection to their homeland is a complex tapestry of memory, family stories, and modern reality. Artists from these diasporic communities are creating some of the most compelling work in this field. Think of a photography series documenting the homes of first-generation immigrants. A kitchen in Brooklyn might feature a high-tech coffee maker next to a traditional stone mortar and pestle for grinding spices. A living room in Sydney might have a widescreen TV showing a rugby match, while on the wall hangs a finely woven mat from a Samoan village. These images are not about loss or assimilation. They are about fusion and the creation of new, hybrid identities. They ask a profound question. What does it mean to be from a place when your life is lived thousands of miles away? The art provides the answer. Identity is not a fixed point on a map, but a constellation of connections carried within. This blending of the ancestral and the contemporary is a recurring theme. We see artists who take traditional motifs, like the intricate patterns of tapa cloth or the symbolic language of Adinkra symbols, and reinterpret them in radical new ways. An artist might use digital software to animate these ancient patterns, creating a pulsating, living video installation that speaks to the enduring power of these cultural codes in a digital age. Another might incorporate the patterns into street art, spray painting them onto the concrete walls of a city, claiming urban space as an extension of ancestral territory. This isn't about disrespecting tradition, it's about keeping it alive. It's a powerful declaration that culture is not a static relic in a museum. It is a living, breathing entity that adapts, evolves, and continues to find new forms of expression. These artists are cultural custodians and innovators, ensuring that the wisdom of their ancestors has a powerful voice in the 21st century. Furthermore, these artists are using their work to assert a form of visual sovereignty. For centuries, islanders were the subjects of the artwork, not the creators. They were painted by European artists like Gauguin, depicted as exotic, passive figures in a landscape that was not their own. Contemporary artists are flipping the script. They are seizing control of the lens, the paintbrush, the chisel. They are depicting themselves and their communities with an authenticity and nuance that was never before possible. We see powerful, unvarnished portraits of community elders, their faces etched with the stories of a lifetime. We see depictions of bustling, modern island cities, complete with traffic jams and cell phones, a far cry from the empty beaches of the tourist brochure. We see art that tackles difficult social issues head-on, from domestic violence to political corruption to the struggles for indigenous rights. This is the act of looking back at a world that has so often only looked at them, and in doing so, they are asserting their agency, their humanity, and their right to self-determination. They are saying, we will define ourselves, we will tell our own stories. So, when we look at this new wave of island art, we are not just seeing pretty pictures. We are witnessing a profound shift in power and perspective. We are seeing a generation of artists who are refusing to be defined by outdated clichés. They are embracing the full complexity of their heritage, their history, and their modern lives. They are creating work that is deeply rooted in place, but speaks to universal human experiences of belonging, memory, and the search for identity. They are moving beyond the horizon of the postcard and showing us the world as it truly is, intricate, challenging, and endlessly fascinating. This redefinition of identity is the critical foundation, but the way they are building upon it, the very materials and methods they use, is where the revolution truly takes flight. To tell the complex, multifaceted stories of modern island life, traditional tools are often not enough. The narratives of climate change, globalization, and cultural survival demand a new artistic language, one that is as innovative and resilient as the communities it represents. This has led to an explosion of creativity, with contemporary island artists pushing the boundaries of what art can be. They are moving far beyond the gallery wall, transforming everyday materials, digital code, and even the landscape itself into powerful mediums for their message. This is not innovation for innovation's sake. It is a necessary evolution where the chosen medium becomes an inseparable part of the story being told. Perhaps the most visceral and globally relevant example of this is the rise of eco-art, particularly works created from reclaimed ocean plastics. For island nations, the health of the ocean is not an abstract concept. It is the source of life, culture, and economy. The deluge of plastic waste washing up on their shores is a direct, daily assault. In response, artists are transforming this toxic refuse into breathtakingly beautiful and haunting works of art. Imagine standing before a massive, life-sized sculpture of a whale shark. Its skin, shimmering with an array of colors, is woven entirely from discarded fishing nets, plastic bottles, and broken flip-flops collected from the beach. This is the ghost of the ocean made manifest. The artwork is a stunning paradox. Its beauty draws you in, but the material it's made from forces you to confront the ugliness of our disposable culture. This art form, often called trashin or found object art, is a powerful form of activism. It's a memorial to the marine life we are losing, a direct critique of global consumerism, and a testament to the creative spirit's ability to find beauty and meaning even in our own waste. On the other end of the material spectrum lies the intangible world of digital and new media. Artists are harnessing technology to preserve ancient stories and create new ones. Consider the potential of virtual reality. An artist from the Pacific might create a VR experience that transports you into the world of Polynesian wayfinding, allowing you to navigate the open ocean using only the stars, the currents, and the flight of birds, guided by the voice of an elder telling the story of their ancestors. This is not just storytelling, it is knowledge transmission in its most immersive form. It allows a global audience to experience a worldview that is profoundly different from their own. Similarly, augmented reality is being used to overlay the past onto the present. Using a smartphone, a visitor to a historic site could see digital recreations of ancient structures or ghostly figures of ancestors reenacting historical events, turning a simple walk into a deep engagement with the living history of a place. Digital art becomes a bridge across time, making the invisible visible and ensuring that ancestral knowledge is not lost but reimagined for a new generation. The island is also becoming the canvas. Large-scale installations and land art are creating profound dialogues between the artwork and the environment. An artist in a low-lying atoll nation might install a series of brightly colored poles along the coastline, each one marking the projected sea level for the year 2050, 2070, and 2100. It's a simple, stark, and terrifyingly effective visualization of an existential threat. The artwork changes with the daily tides, sometimes partially submerged, a constant, silent alarm bell. This art is ephemeral, vulnerable to the very forces it critiques, making its message all the more powerful. Another example is sound art. Imagine walking through a coastal forest and hearing not just the birds, but also disembodied voices, whispering names, telling stories, or chanting in an endangered language. These soundscapes, broadcast from hidden speakers, re-enchant the landscape with its human history and cultural memory, reminding us that the land is not just a physical space, but a repository of stories. Finally, we see a move towards art that is less about objects and more about actions and relationships. This is the realm of performance art and social practice. An artist might organize a community project to revive the practice of traditional canoe building, not just to create a canoe, but to foster intergenerational connection, pass on skills, and strengthen community bonds. The entire process, the collaboration, the conversations, the shared meals, becomes the artwork. The finished canoe is just one artifact of a much larger creative act. Performance artists use their own bodies to explore themes of history and identity, sometimes engaging in long-durational performances that test physical and mental limits, mirroring the endurance and resilience of their people. This is art as a living, social process, one that builds community and creates change from the ground up, rather than simply creating a product to be sold. From salvaged plastic to virtual worlds, from the coastline to the community circle, contemporary island artists are radically expanding our definition of art. They are masterfully selecting their mediums to amplify their message, creating a powerful synergy where the form and the content are one. The plastic speaks of pollution, the digital code speaks of connection and memory, the marked landscape speaks of precarity, the community project speaks of resilience. These innovative approaches are not just clever, they are essential for communicating the urgency and complexity of their reality. And it is this potent combination of personal story and innovative form that allows these deeply local works to resonate so profoundly across the globe. How can a work of art, born from the unique cultural soil of a small island, speak so powerfully to a global audience? It's a question that gets to the very heart of why this art matters so much right now. The answer lies in a beautiful paradox. The more specific and authentic the art is to its local roots, the more universally it seems to resonate. Contemporary island artists are not watering down their culture to make it more palatable for an international market. Instead, they are digging deeper, embracing their specificity, and in doing so, they are unearthing truths that connect us all. Their work serves as both a window into a unique worldview and a mirror reflecting our shared global challenges. The key is understanding the power of the universal in the specific. Consider an installation by a Fijian artist that intricately maps the complex kinship relationships within their village, using traditional maji-maji, or coconut husk fiber, to draw lines between people and places. On the surface, this is a deeply local work, indecipherable to an outsider without context. But at its core, what is it about? It's about community, connection, heritage, and the systems we create to understand our place in the world. Anyone who has ever felt the pull of family, the importance of community, or the desire to know where they come from can connect with that piece on a profound emotional level. The specific dialect of the art speaks a universal language of human experience. It reminds us that while our cultures may be different, our fundamental human needs for belonging and understanding are the same. Nowhere is this dynamic more apparent than in the context of climate change. Island nations are on the absolute front lines of a crisis they did little to create. They are facing the existential threat of rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and the loss of their very land. The art that emerges from this reality is raw, urgent, and deeply moving. A video piece showing the slow, inexorable erosion of a coastline, set to the sound of an elder singing a traditional song of lament, is not just a piece of island art, it is a piece of human art. It is a warning, an elegy, and a call to action for the entire planet. When an artist from Tuvalu creates a sculpture that will be submerged by the high tide, they are creating a message that resonates in Miami, in Venice, in Bangladesh, and in any coastal community facing a similar fate. These artists are not just documenting a local problem, they are the poets of a global emergency. They are giving a human face to the abstract data of climate reports, and their unique perspective provides a moral clarity that is impossible to ignore. This global resonance is also fundamentally shifting the dynamics of the international art world. For centuries, the art world was centralized in a few Western capitals: Paris, London, New York. Artists from the periphery were often seen as derivative or were only celebrated if their work fit into a preconceived Western notion of the exotic. That is changing. Contemporary island artists are not waiting for an invitation to the table. They are building their own. They are creating influential regional biennials, fostering networks of collaboration across the Pacific and the Caribbean, and using the internet to bypass traditional gatekeepers and speak directly to a global audience. The world's leading curators and collectors are now traveling to see their work, recognizing that some of the most innovative and important art today is being made far from the traditional centers of power. This is a decolonization of the art world in real time, a redistribution of cultural authority that asserts the equal value of all creative voices. Ultimately, the most profound contribution of these artists is the fresh perspective they offer on how to navigate the very crises we all face. In a world grappling with environmental collapse, social fragmentation, and a loss of meaning, island cultures often hold deep-seated knowledge about resilience, community interdependence, and sustainable living. This knowledge, embedded in their art, is not a nostalgic look at the past, but a vital resource for the future. An artwork that incorporates principles of traditional, sustainable agriculture is not just a beautiful object, it's a proposal for a different way of relating to the land. A performance piece based on community consensus building is not just a theatrical event, it's a model for a more collaborative and just society. These artists are sharing their indigenous epistemologies, their ways of knowing, and offering them not as a panacea, but as a source of wisdom and inspiration. The art emerging from the world's islands is not a niche category. It is a vital, central, and indispensable part of the global art conversation. It is born from local roots, but its branches reach across the continents, touching on the most pressing issues of our time. It challenges us, inspires us, and connects us. It asks us to look beyond the postcard, beyond the horizon, and to see a reflection of our shared world in all its complexity, its peril, and its beauty.